An hour into the ride, they pressed east along the southern coast of New England, and Alice, unable to sleep, phone dead, and lacking capacity to focus on the book she'd shoved into her bag as she'd rushed from her apartment that afternoon, peered into the inky darkness outside the window, where Long Island Sound lay still and flat and invisible in the distance, beyond the saltwater marshland of the Connecticut coast. It would have been impossible to see anyway, thanks to the late hour and the dark sky, but the view had competition. The fluorescent lights reflecting the inside of the train car against the glass, casting a pale glow over the cluttered shelf across the aisle, full of sleeping bags and suitcases, and a large tote bag with electric pink piping, pickleball paddle jammed into the side pocket. Beneath the collection of travel detritus, two teenage girls laughed at a curly-haired boy hanging over the seat in front of them, a goofy smile on his face. On another night, Alice might have smiled at the picture they made, late summer perfection. But tonight, it was a different part of the reflection that distracted her, the bright, shining rectangle glowing in her neighbor's lap. His phone was open to some social app, one with endless scroll. He should turn that off. Endless scroll rotted a person's brain. It had been rotting hers before she boarded the train, searching for the dopamine hit of makeup tutorials and cat videos, antidotes to her mother's call, the first she'd made to Alice in 5 years. Her seatmate paused, a headline impossibly large against the darkness outside. She had no trouble reading the text in the mirrored reflection. Trailblazing genius Franklin Storm, dead at 70. His thumb hovered over the link. Don't, she willed, not sure she would be able to look away, even though she knew the story within, had known it since she was born. Franklin Storm had stepped into his parents' garage in North Boston at the age of 17 and changed computing and the world with $1,107 and a dream. He'd made computers large and small, brought them into homes and schools, and placed them in pockets and on wrists the world over. That was the first paragraph. The ones that followed would be about his company, his vast collection of art, his philanthropy, his charm, his daredevil tendencies. No one should be too surprised by a gliding accident, really. And then his family. There'd be photos, probably from his 70th birthday, taken that past April, the ones Alice had pored over in the style section of the Times. Captions, a footnote about the child not pictured, not invited. A reminder of why. Don't open it. He didn't. Alice breathed again. Swallowing the urge to tell him to read a book or something, she reached down and pulled a newspaper out of her bag. She hadn't held a print newspaper since she was a kid, when a stack of them would be delivered to the apartment every morning. Still, she smoothed her hand over the front page of that morning's New York Times, printed 20 hours earlier, rendered instantly obsolete in this world where, allegedly, breaking news came all day, all hours, directly to a person's preferred rectangle, there, then gone, turned instantly into the past to make room for the future, a shift so quick that the present simply disappeared. Why had she bought it? Alice rubbed a thumb across the words, tattooing herself with the ink of yesterday's news, the before. Tomorrow's paper would be the after. The top of the fold on the front page would be devoted to her father's death, the biggest story of the week, of the year. Longer for Alice and her therapist. She traced a headline about inflation, another about unhoused New Yorkers, a third about the solar power revolution. Stories that were more important than anything the paper would say the next day. Stories she couldn't read because there, in her peripheral vision, her seatmate had turned over his phone, and the back of it gleamed smooth black obsidian without any reflection, its only mark a swirling silver S like the eye of a hurricane.